Good morning and welcome everyone. My name is Kevin Carpenter, volunteer with CppCon, and I am here with Nico. And I know Nico from his books, the complete guide books. Well, it blocks out there a little bit, but that's for the 17 version, which I think I got as a souvenir from CppCon 2019. And here today, we're going to talk about his classes, 2 of them that he's got coming up the conference, and his talk, and just to get to know him a bit better. So, Nico, welcome. Tell us a bit about yourself.
So we might explain that for me it's currently Sunday morning because I'm currently in Europe, and myself I'm self-employed. I do C++ for 30 years now, 25 years in the standards committee. So partially it's all my fault. So you can blame me on everything.
Yeah, I was looking at your website and I saw that you had a paper from 1991 that was about X windows and motif, and I was like, I remember using that when I loaded up Slackware.
Okay, that was actually the first book I wrote about. I came into a company who did that. They started already writing books, one book about that, because that was pretty new in that time. It was even before OSF Motif. Only the X window system did exist, and they were struggling finishing the book, so they asked me to finish. I helped and learned that I have some way to deal with books. So in the next book, I wrote then about C++, when I waited for the birth of my first son. So sometimes it's things like that.
Well, if you were able to write the book while waiting for the birth of your son, I mean, that's fast. That's a quick book.
Oh no, not the day of the birth. I mean, no, not during the day of the birth. It was that just at the end. It took more and more days, and I think it was Christmas time, and then I thought it's so boring and waiting and see, and then today is not next day. So those who have been parents, they know, if you have a time point where something is announced and it doesn't come, and such a big thing, then and I said, okay, maybe I start with the C++ book now, because I taught it already in the company, and then I thought maybe I should write about it, and this time I write it alone on myself, because then I don't have to worry with others.
Well, and you've been writing lots of books and content since then, and so I have you today because we're going to talk first about your pre-class is C++ 20 in practice, a complete introduction. And so tell us about the class. What is somebody going to walk away with if they take this 2-day on-site class with you?
I would say the most important thing is that they go away and understand what C++ 20 is bringing for them. And that's a big thing, because C++ 20 is a change like C++ 11 has been. The way of programming will dramatically change, or at least might change, depending on how much we adopt. And so in practice, how much the community adopts from what's coming there. I just gave a class, and we had 2 days of just the principles of C++ 20, and then we had a third day with some details, because I really have to teach just the principles of C++ 20, so that you have an idea what's coming, and that you can learn this by looking at CPB references or other sources, etc. It's so huge. It will change a lot. And there's a lot to say, because as usual, we have some pitfalls, some interesting decisions for good reasons, but you have to know them. Otherwise, you're stuck, or you think what I'm doing here or whatsoever. So some experience you might know already for C++ is also there in C++ 20. We are in a good tradition here.
Yeah. So when I think about the C++ 17 complete guidebook you made, and you have the 20 version, so is the 20 version all new material? Is there much repeated from the 17 guide? Or when you make the
No, no.
guidebooks, is it all new based on the new version?
Yeah, this is the book is completely on the new version. So that seems to be now my way to write books and
Hmm.
to survive the next, I don't know, 20 years. It's just that every 3 years we have a new version and then I document what's new. So on the other hand, I don't require that people are fully understand and know C++17. So some tricky pieces I then say, yeah, that this is coming from C++17 and look there for details, but just that you understand the code we are using if you need feature from there. So don't worry if you don't know C++17, you can follow the class. You should be familiar with modern C++, so the way we introduce programming with C++11 and 14. So lambdas, auto, generic lambdas, and things
Gotcha.
like that.
So to expand on that, though, I think we were saying that your C++20 book is actually a bit bigger than what 17 was, isn't it?
It is, because a lot of stuff is coming. That's the point. And it is really big. As I said, this is as revolutionary as C++11. And it is a lot of things I had to document.
Yeah.
So, and principles both, but also several details. So we come up with principles like views, but then we have to talk about each and every view that's in the standard library, and that alone takes 100 pages, I think. And same for other topics like just coroutines and principles, and then look at coroutines in detail, and that takes another 50 pages. So that's a common scheme. We come up with some principles, but we also go on some details. Not all the details you find in CPP reference, not all the specific signatures, but enough to get to see the whole picture and have some way to find the right thing. Yeah.
Gotcha. So when I was reading your description in the class, it talks about how you do your class using your computer and doing shared kind of programming, which I'm curious what your take is on that, because there's a lot of instructors that I've spoke to as well that it's more, just hands-on. Like I remember taking Rainer's class with threading and we were all there with the laptop. Do you find
Mhm.
what do you find as being the benefit the way that you teach?
Well, when I started to teach, a training was always, I don't know, 1 hour new stuff, 1 hour trying it out. Every individual or two sitting on a desktop or laptop, and that was a way to teach. The problem with that is it takes a lot of time. And C++ has so many stuff that this wasn't possible anymore. So you need I don't know 2 weeks to learn C++20, which nobody pays for,
Right.
and so but I wanted to make sure that attendees get some practical experience, that they feel things, that they are worried, so that they really see how it is to use it, because you learn from that. So I started to say, well, from time to time, I give a programming exercise to the group as a whole, and then we solve it together. I have to moderate a little bit, so that
Mhm.
not only one of the attendees does everything, and so that way you learn and see really how it feels to program with that. You run into some pitfalls, and you learn from the questions others have and the errors other attendees make. So that has been turned out to be the best way to teach and learn things. Although in 2 days of C++20 we won't have a lot of these exercises, but a few we have just to demo, for example, how it really feels to program with a coroutine, for example.
Right. I I I feel unfortunate because I won't be able to take your class because I think of the ones that I've done that, I think of some of the classes where it's kind of nice in one way to have the hands-on, but then at the same time, when I've spoken with Klaus or others that do it that way, you definitely, I think, risk more of having, I don't want to say people left behind, but it's like, I didn't quite get through this particular problem and, you're just not quite working it all together. And so, I look forward to hearing feedback from people that are taking the class just because I like that idea of the way that you're teaching it. And so you also have advanced and modern C++ programming, the tricky parts. And I want to say you've
Hmm.
done this class before. Have you?
Yes,
The tricky
yeah, yeah.
part?
That's to some extent a traditional class of CppCon.
Okay.
So I think I don't know. It's the fifth time we have that. So, and it's there are always a lot of people. So you learn C++ at some time with some version, and then the rest usually you learn from books or from just seeing code in practice or
Right.
hearing something or going to a conference like CppCon and seeing new features. But it turns out that if you teach people and programmers who have done C++ for even 10 years, they struggle at the same areas.
Hmm.
So they learn it, but when they learned it, they couldn't remember everything. Nobody can do that.
Right.
So it's a good way to repeat and go one level deeper. So what I usually say, you replace your half knowledge by three quarters of a knowledge or so. So all these different things you have heard about, you just see them once more, or you learn a few new things that will help you in your programming job and programming career. And that is the idea. And it's, as I do a lot of trainings, about 20 to 30 a year.
Oh, yeah.
It's surprisingly that in these advanced trainings, programmers have the same questions. So it's pretty typical what they want to hear about. They want to know about, I don't know, allocators.
Right.
They want to understand the tricky differences of some containers and references. Templates, of course.
Hmm.
So all these details. So you wonder why memory management in detail, polymorphic memory resources also. Yeah, placement new, Spinny. So although we don't need that anymore a lot with C++20, but I explain why. Yeah, so you can see in the description of the training the different topics we have. And we just go 3 days of 6 hours, I think, to all these topics. And usually programmers just learn a couple of things. Some they know, some they understand better, and some they learn. So that's the idea of that training. Move semantics, of course, is one thing.
And just to say, so to make sure everybody knows, this is a post-conference class that is online. And so
Yes.
you can, if you're quick in the next 2 weeks, you can sign up and get a class with Nico both pre-conference and see him in person. And then you can do it again after the conference online and get double the knowledge, all within 3 weeks.
Yeah. And it's a Monday till Wednesday after the conference. So the week after the conference. Yeah. Last year, I think we did it the post weekend.
Yeah.
And that also worked okay, but it turned out that I think from the feedback, programmers said, "Oh, it's better to have 3 days, but 6 hours than 2 days of 8 or 9 hours, because it's a lot. It's a
Yeah.
lot, and maybe you have to think about it, and maybe you have to sleep because attendees come from all over the world, and it might be in the middle of the night when they hear these things. Yeah.
Yes.
So it's on, what is it, 9 to 3 Central Time? No, is this Central?
I
So
think
it's
so.
Denver time. No, Mountain Time, is it? Huh?
Yeah, Mountain
In
Time.
Denver. Yeah. So it's Mountain Time. Yeah. So yeah, which works pretty okay in most of the world, but not everywhere.
And so If you weren't busy enough with 2 classes, a pre and a post, you're also giving a back to basics talk on iterators. And I have to
Yeah.
say, like, when I see David Sankel and Pete Muldoon, a couple people that, give lots of talks themselves, signed up already in Sked to come watch your talk.
They did?
Oh,
Oh.
yes, I was looking just
Oh my
a little
goodness.
bit
I
ago.
have to. Okay, that places burden on me, pressure. Oh my goodness.
So it must be that it's going to be a great talk about iterators.
Maybe. So that's a little bit funny. This back to basics is such a great element of CppCon. That was an awesome idea. I told others in other conferences about that, also not in C++ community, and they say, "Oh, what a great idea! We have sometimes we forget about the beginners because we have done things 10 years, and now let's go to basics and just see what are the basics." And they're sometimes very surprised about things
Yeah.
they didn't know for years. And iterators. So we discussed in ahead a little bit about topics. And usually I select a topic I didn't have for a while, and because that's a good way to consolidate my slides and say, so let me rethink about how to deal with iterators. And I think last year it was about templates, and I really changed my slides because you teach templates differently since C++20. So and the same applies probably to iterators. So I haven't prepared the talk yet, but it will be just whatever we can do in 1 hour to tell the basics.
Right.
But the basics from the view of C++20 and modern C++, knowing that a lot of programmers don't use C++20 yet. So that is a challenge. And I'm also keen about my slides and what will happen there. So we'll see.
I've heard of working on your slides late, but to hear that you haven't started the talk yet, I mean, with your experience, I know that you will knock that out quickly, but I'm just like, a wealth of knowledge.
Well, I think I have a pool of 3,000 to 4,000 slides. So that's the basics, of course. And I have a couple of slides about iterators, of course. So I think it's more to select which one I take, to bring them in an order that works good.
Right.
And then usually what I do with my slides is a continuous improvement process. So each and every talk I improve something, and then after the class, for example, I also write down and see, oh, this could be better.
Right.
And yeah, so this is also an option for me to improve the area of iterators and then rethink about how to teach it. And yeah, so it's not all the slides have to be done from scratch. There are some, but improve them. That's all. Yeah.
It's cool hearing you talk about how you do that with your slides, just because, so I've only given a couple talks myself, but when I think of someone such as yourself or Kate Gregory and, some of the other, we'll say, prolific speakers that, even Matuse, it's like, I can understand when you're doing training, it's like, that's your source code. That's what you just get to keep pulling from.
Yeah.
To make new
Yeah.
content.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
makes sense.
That's the only thing I need, a very careful backup. So that's my money, the pool of 4,000 C++ slides.
So 2 weeks from now, you will have finished your first day of class.
Oh, wow. Oh my goodness. Okay.
Yes. And that also means that, to anybody that's watching, if you aren't registered for the conference yet, you want to get registered. Want to let everyone know that in 2 days' time, so starting on Wednesday, there will be a price increase at the conference. So if you haven't registered yet, you want to register by Tuesday. And when you come to the conference, Nico will have his C++20 guide. We'll be selling it at the store, and you can pick up a copy. It'll be the hard copy, and then you can have Nico sign it as well. So we have all this in store, and
it's a reduced price, you should say.
Oh yes, that too. So cheaper than you will get it off of Amazon without shipping. So just make sure to save room in your bag to carry it home, because it's a thick one.
Yeah, that's a thick one. Yeah, and I strongly recommend to use a hardcover one because paperback with 600 pages is a little bit sloppy over time.
Yeah, that would be, even the 17 guide was pretty thick with paperback. So
Yeah.
Nico, I appreciate your time this morning, and I look forward to seeing you in Denver in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, looking forward to, and I really enjoy it. I enjoy the area, and I enjoy meeting all these people there. Looking forward. Hey, and all come and enjoy. That's all.
We'll talk to you soon, Nico. Thank you.
Thank you, Kevin.